Welcome to another edition of What the Fatah, the show where political correctness died a death many years, no, episodes, many episodes ago. And some of our observations, not our observations, my observations, seem to upset people because they're not accustomed to listening to frank conversation. They're quite trapped into this Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb where you can, cook jalebis, make a conversation out of it, never be clear, always be deceptive, always be worried about what the other person would think and would it lower my popularity among this segment of the population or not. But here, we really don't give a damn. Got it? Yeah, I'm sure you did. Let's talk about a segment of the Indian population that has suffered more than any in the last 70 years, but Indians don't care. It hasn't registered yet. 500,000 Kashmiri Hindus who would like to be known as Kashmiri Pandits were thrown out of their historic land in 1990. If you're getting the news now, I'm sorry, there wasn't What the Fatah in 1990. But these people were made refugees in their own country. This is not like some Burma throwing out Rohingyas who have to flee to Bangladesh and then appeal for help. No, these were Indian citizens in Indian Kashmir who were thrown out by Indian Muslims. But since the people who threw them out are beyond reproach, cannot be touched, nobody can say anything about them, the murder and massacre of countless Kashmiri Pandits took place, and today they are dispersed all over the world. Some of them are very successful in the United States. It is said that one of the most prosperous communities in the United States is the Kashmiri Pandit community. And a lot of them live in main India, some are in Jammu. A lot went through horrendous conditions. And it seems that the rest of the world didn't care. It just wasn't on the agenda of anyone to worry about 500,000 people. Wow, what the heck? Nobody could even understand what a Kashmiri Pandit was, let alone what a Kashmiri Hindu was. But the question still remains, what happened to the rest of India? Why was it that it didn't resonate, didn't come into the psyche of Indians? I remember flying to Delhi and attending an event called Delhi Chalo, where Kashmiri Pandits came from across the world to organize and raise their concern. I didn't see anyone from the mainstream Delhi community to attend that event. And this sort of disturbs me because Kashmir has a special place in Indian history. And in the 8th century, at a time when India was first invaded by the Arabs, and Muhammad ibn Qasim was pillaging and selling Hindu women to send them to Damascus for auction in the slave marts, there was a guy who stood up to him and made sure that he was pushed back, that the Arab invasion of India was brought to a halt. And that was Lalit Aditya, a Kashmiri king, a Hindu, one of the great men of the Karkota dynasty, which I'm always surprised few Indians know about it, that spread from the Caspian Sea to what is now Bangladesh, the largest empire of India in the 8th century that collaborated with the Chinese and brought in their artillery and their archers to fight off the Arabs who had come right beyond and were heading north of Multan and through Punjab into Kashmir. They were stopped there by this king. Nobody knows him. His great temples, only one survives. If I'm not mistaken, it is near Anantnag. And of the 25 that were destroyed in the 15th century by a gentleman, I can't call him a gentleman, but I will, his name was Sikandar Butchikin. Can you imagine a Muslim king by that name? You know what it means? Alexander, the destroyer of idols. That was his name, Sikandar Butchikin. Great hero. Everyone knows about him in Kashmir, but very few know about Lalit Aditya. I doubt if many Indians know about him. I think the only Indian monarch who ever thought of spreading Indian civilization to the rest of the world. He even went up and invaded, stopped the Arabs, not just by Muhammad bin Qasim, he stopped them from when they entered from the west through Kabul and Peshawar. He hit them hard and made them go back. These were the people, an almost 100% Hindu society, very enlightened, educated, who had a special place for Buddhist temples in that land, who were driven out by invaders. And at that time, one could understand that if Arab and Turkish invaders came and eradicated the Hindus and made them a minority in their own home, I could still understand they were foreigners. But what happened in 1990 was the exact opposite. The people who threw them out were governed by the Republic of India. They were not living in an occupied land, they were living in their own home of thousands of years, but they were driven out and forgotten. So our job here in Water Fatah is to bring up such issues and make my dear Indians aware that you are great people. It's just that you've forgotten how great you are and you underestimate yourself. You have given the world civilization, and the Kashmiri Pandits, or whether you call them Kashmiri Hindus, played a great role in stopping the invasions that came in the 8th century. But what is most tragic is that today if you go down and want to buy a book about 8th century India, you will not find anything. You will not find anything because nobody in the last 70 years wants to know about what Muhammad bin Qasim did to the Hindus and Brahmins and Buddhists of Sindh who had given refuge to Prophet Muhammad's family. Nobody wants you to know that. Why? Well, you had an education minister who had a stake in this, who said, let's not talk about things that are inconvenient. For the Muslim community, of course, you can print it in Urdu and sell it in Old Delhi at bookstores, under the shelf, mind you. But the real truth has not yet been written. It's not in your courses, it's not in the academics, at the school level, in the college level, and mind you, not even in the famous JNU, the ultimate place of wisdom and a rebellion. No, they don't know about Karkota civilization because it irks them. All of a sudden, those who invaded India, those who raped it and pillaged it are our heroes. And who is supporting them? The Sharia Bolsheviks, the left-wing people who think anything Indian is a cuss word and anything that is associated with those who invaded us is an enlightenment. You do the math and you will understand that in the treatment we gave to the Kashmiri Pandits, we made a huge mistake as Indians, and we can still rectify it by learning a lesson and trying to understand why we do not teach India about the great Karkota civilization that spread with the capital in Srinagar, but spread from Caspian Sea to the Brahmaputra Ganga Delta. Until next time, Khuda Hafiz, Fi Aman Allah, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hind.